My name is Jordan Smith and I teach 8th grade science in Crowley ISD. Today I will be demonstrating an inquiry-based lesson using the scientific method. The CISD best practices I will be demonstrating today are framing the lesson, pacing and sequencing, high academic expectations, and effective classroom management. As students enter my room, they know the expectations for the beginning of class.
Madison, read the screen and go to table 6, please. Ashley, you can go to table 1. Hannah, read the screen, go to table 4. Jocelyn, read the screen, go to table 2.
I incorporate technology into my classroom by having students complete their Do Now question on MyBay Campus. I frame the lesson each day so that students know and understand the intended outcomes.
We are going to continue doing that today. However, our activity has nothing to do with science.
Why?
So I'm going to show you how you're going to use the scientific method, but it's not going to be a science experiment. It's going to be kind of a real life situation. So, will everybody please look up here so I can go over the objective for today. Alright, today's objective. You will make observations and a hypothesis to create a conclusion using the scientific method.
The first step in the inquiry-based lesson is the problem.
Alright, we are going to work through the scientific method today and tomorrow to figure out the conclusion to see what has happened was. So our first step in the scientific method is what, Luke? What's the first step? Identify the problem. I have done that on your paper. So, will you please read us the problem, Ledwar?
Use the scientific method to create an accurate story describing events that happened in any family over several years.
The next step is the hypothesis.
So this is what I want you to do. In your hypothesis, include some sort of percentage. So I hypothesize I can get 25% of their family story right.
I like to use proximity to ensure that students remain committed to the learning task.
2014, John Smith wrote a check for $45.67, and he wrote it to Pizza Hut.
The next step is the experiment part of the inquiry-based process.
Okay, step 2, you are going to analyze your check with your group. So what that means, you're going to look at the date it was written, who wrote it, okay, how much, and come up with the reason why you think they wrote it.
When completing steps in a lesson, I always pace my students so they stay on task and clearly know my expectations.
Chronologically by their date. Okay? That is round 1. We are going to move on to round 2. So everybody needs to pull a new check and analyze it with your group. You have a minute and a half. Go.
I like for students to collaborate and discuss the learning goals. This gives me an opportunity to check for understanding.
And then had to get a bigger house.
And then they send their son, their older son, to summer camp.
Anytime I release responsibility to my students, I make sure I'm working the power zone and actively monitoring student progress. I incorporate a very structured writing across the curriculum piece in the experiment process.
Where's the second thing?
Right here.
So I see where the lesson work at close.
I like to scaffold learning activities so that they do not get overwhelmed by the
Halfway
process.
done with your story. So I'm going to put 10 more minutes on the clock for you to finish the other half.
The fourth step of the scientific method is students collecting data. First, I read the story.
A single man who played baseball for the Anaheim Angels. During a game, William dove to catch a ball and knocked out his front tooth and tore up his glove.
And then students use a T-chart to determine similarities and differences. I set high academic expectations through the use of 100%. Whatever my expectations are, I require 100% of my students.
May I have your attention, please? We are going to continue talking about the scientific method today.
The last step of the scientific process is the conclusion. I have students complete this piece as a closure for the day's lesson. This is to ensure student understanding. At the end of class, I like to summarize the day's learning before I release my students.
Okay, so today everybody should have learned the 5 steps in the scientific method: problem, hypothesis, experiment, data, conclusion, right? Okay, have a good day.